Hello and welcome to the Dogtooth Podcast. I just want to do a quick introduction on what the Dogtooth Podcast is, and then I'll get on introducing our guests. So the Dogtooth Podcast is basically me chatting with my network, my friends, business colleagues, and interesting people. So not everyone on here I know very well, but some people will be just my friends. I'm hoping to tease out some interesting things, but essentially what this will be a creative business podcast. Not for creative specifically. It will be various different types of people, from fitness through to manufacturing, with artists in there as well. But it will be generally a business-focused podcast, so it's not going to be necessarily about mindset or fitness or manufacturing. It'll be about all the thread that holds it together. And over time, I'm hoping that I will be able to create a sort of a document that will help small business operators, people who are looking to come out of a corporate gig and turn them their passion into a business. That is my passion. I'm fortunate that when I was very young, I kind of chose a career based on a few things, but we can get into over the time with these podcasts. But ultimately, I chose to be a designer. I followed that path, and eventually I am now, I've been running my own business for 20 plus years. And I love my daily life. Do I want to improve? Do I want to make a bigger impact in life? Of course I do. And that's part of this podcast journey as well. So if you'd like to join me on the Dogtooth Podcast. Right, so with my guest today, it is actually my younger brother, Daniel Jesse. So we are a family who don't have any middle names, so we can't sound posh or anything. But basically just got a first name and a second name. So it is Daniel Jesse. Dan, tell us. He was actually called Danny as well at one point. So tell us about yourself.
Well, what do you want to know? I live in Cumbria, mountain biker, snowboarder. Me and my wife run a web development business, specialising in Shopify. We do WordPress development and things like that. And then got a side hustle for making 3D maps out of wood. What else do you want to know?
So that's a CNC like
CNC machine, yeah.
Building, like cutting out of a topographic map out of a large pieces of wood, or walnut, I think was the last one, was it, that you did?
Yeah.
But also, you have another side hustle, as we all creative people do, many side hustles, and that is Jackrabbit, which is kind of one of the things that I thought we would talk about today, because we could talk, and we will talk about lots of different things, like in business and things, but I thought particularly we should talk about Jackrabbit because you have just done a launch event for February. So maybe dig into what Jackrabbit is and what the purpose of it is, and maybe what that event is as well.
Yeah, so Jackrabbit, it came about at, I think, when I was 16, and Rick came up with the idea of like wanting to be involved in the action sport scenes, like snowboarding, surfing, everything like that, and it just seemed like the culture that we liked, and we quite liked the mountain biking and everything that went with it, and the people that you meet through it. And then I left to go to university, and ended up meeting loads of people that like that kind of thing, and it created a really good core group of friends. And then from that, we ended up getting people into snowboarding. We started organising trips, and it became a really good little kind of community feel, and it was just a great vibe because everyone was in it for having fun and things. So we tried to do merch and things in the past, which always went down well. Everybody loved it. And then it petered out because we were running events. So we did the snowboarding holidays, we did the mountain bike trips and climbing trips and things like that. And then I had children. And apparently when you have children, everything kind of goes out the window and you can't concentrate. You only have one kind of opportunity to focus. And unfortunately, I had to make money, and Jackrabbit was a passion project at the time. So we were still organising trips and things, but it slowly petered out. And then, yeah, between me and Rick, we never really managed to get the time again to kind of focus on it. And then we've always had these kind of pipe dreams about running bigger events and things, but then you get dragged into day-to-day life with normal business and things. So, and it's something that I'd love to see take off, because I believe that action sports and being out and about and stuff is the best thing for everybody. So what we're going to do from now on, behind the scenes, because we run the web development agency, we started building the website back up again behind the scenes, so to really help promote the grassroots companies, so like the snowboard shops and the skate shops and things, because online's kind of killed it. Everything went a bit commercial and it's become really difficult. So now we want to start promoting those little businesses that are real kind of rider-owned. And so along with that, we're trying to organise these events. So we want to go snowboarding. So we're going to organise a trip to Manchester Chill Factory on the 7th of February. Oh, that's coming up quick. And then we've got climbing trips, we've got biking trips, and we're just trying to get everyone involved. It's come along, have a go. If you've never tried it, bring your bike along, and like the people that come with that are always amazing. So yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah. I remember, my action sports, as we call it now. It was extreme sports back then, but now it's action sports. My experience of action sports was basically limited to me and Jamie and you, and I didn't have a really big group of people around me. I just knew that I was passionate about it. But then when you went off to uni, the thing, I kind of just put it to bed, because similar to you, is just, I just got involved in work. And then you went off to uni, and all of a sudden it just ballooned into this community, really, more than it, like my sort of idea was about a website and about gear, like what's a good snowboard, what's a good surfboard, etc. But yeah, you went and you took it and you built it into this community. It was like 550 odd people or something on the Facebook at one point.
There's it was really good, because what happened with the university was that we all met and we were all in halls, and there was a core group of us, and we all got along really well, and we started to do things together. We started to go biking and things, and everyone saw that we were having a great time. So then they'd ask about it, they'd go buy a bike, they'd come along, they'd get a snowboard, and it grew and grew and grew. And then after uni, there was a few of us stayed. Then everybody else kind of went out and found their own friends, and kind of they started to do stuff, and we started to meet up with them, and it worked really well. And then we met more people in Carlisle just after uni, and that worked really well. So yeah, it was great, and no one was exceptional at any of it. It was all like we were just having great fun doing it. And I mean, there were some exceptional people. We met some people along the way who have been absolutely incredible. And I think the thing I like most about that was that they were still the same mindset. They were still just in it for having fun. They were still just like us.
Yeah. Have a go heroes. I think that's like kind of the epitome of our mindset was always like, yeah, let's give it a go. Whatever that is, whether that was trying a different sport, or yeah, let's give it a go. Whether that was like a gap, or a ramp or a jump or something, it was like, yeah, let's give it a go. And you, more than anybody I know, have embodied the have a go, but just fall slightly short.
Absolutely.
So it's like broken elbows, broken collarbone, etc. But it is that mentality of like have a go. What's the worst that can happen? Apart from pins everywhere.
Yeah. My logic has always been that if you're not using the healing properties of your body, then you're kind of missing out. So it's like having the ability to have a fast car and then never using the accelerator. So maybe not quite a great analogy, but yeah, I feel like I'm getting the most out of my body with its healing properties.
Yeah, well, the downside obviously is, again, now that you're a bit older as well, it's that recovery element of it. Like when I went last snowboarding, and when I was out with Nathan and Ellie and Mia, when I fell over and I broke my hand, I was just like, I feel like I'm too old for this. And then I think the time previously was in teen. And
trying to keep up with everyone that was trying to do backflips, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, well, anything really. Like I think that I smashed my eye open and caused it to like bleed a lot with when I tried to do a 360. Thought halfway through it, I thought, no, I'm not going to make it. Then tried to stall it, and then landed midway and went boom like that. And then there was another one when we got impatient. Everyone was waiting for the hit to hit the jump. I got impatient and hit it at a speed that was too much for the jump. Landed again, did my knee. So it's like at a certain point, your body starts to tell you you need to take it easy. You need to
I suppose that's why I like the snowboarding, because it's a little bit more forgiving. You can push it as hard as you want or not. Mountain biking, you can just not go as fast. You can use your brakes. You can slow down. Surfing, it only hurts when you go out in the stupidly big waves. Other than that, you can fall off. It's not really a problem. However, skateboarding is a really accessible sport. So there's like skate parks and things all over the spot. And I love the skate culture. Like it's at the core of most of what we do in terms of action sports, adventure sports and stuff. And one of my friends built his own mini ramp when he had kids a few years ago. And I was just like, this is going to be fantastic. I'm finally going to be able to drop in. I'm going to be able to do this. Going to be a few goes on that, and I realised that skating is probably the worst sport for learning when you're older. Like, everything hurts. The impacts hurt 10 times more than I remember, and it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's it. Like, when everyone comes in the studio and they see all my skateboards, they go, "Oh, like, do you skate?" I'm like, "No, I ride a skateboard, but I don't skate like you think people skate, because basically I'm too scared. Even the thought of like kick flipping it into your shin or something like that, that's not for me. I like riding things fast. I don't do tricks or anything like that. So, and it's the same with the snowboard. I don't do any tricks. I just do fast, carve and enjoy it. You know, like. But that's the great thing, right? Is that we've got people who can do all those tricks, and you do wish that you probably had the bravery to do it. But ultimately, for me, it's the being outdoors. It's the doing of the sport and enjoying that. You know, that flow, which we both
expression.
Yeah.
It's expression, isn't it? So you can do what you want. There's no one telling you have to do this, you have to do that, whatever. There's a feeling that comes with it, and the kind of crowning moment for all action sports for me is doing it with your mates, getting to the bottom of a run that's just a little bit out of control. You're going a bit too fast. You're doing stuff that you're not quite capable of doing, but you've managed to pull it off. You get to the bottom, and that high. The high fives, the full feeling of it all is the best thing. Like, and I live for that, and that's where Jackrabbit comes from for me. For wanting to do the events and have the community, it's just it's like nothing else.
Yeah, definitely. And the saddest thing about like UK action sports culture is that snowboarding, whilst it's way more accessible than when I was like young, I think Tamworth Snowdome was only just being built when I was 19 or something like that, I think. But and there's a load of that now, so you can go there. But obviously, once you've been on a mountain, once you've done the home run off a mountain, going to a snowdome just feels like claustrophobic. You can't.
Absolutely. Expensive. I mean, they're not the best for the environment either, which is it's a struggling point, because it's great for creating communities in kind of city areas and stuff like that. But there's a negative side, and it just doesn't quite tick the box unless there's a park and you don't mind going on the park stuff. But again, not really my cup of tea. I mean, I'd love to have a go, but I'd usually come back hurt. So as you well know,
I can ride a box. That's about it, and nothing else. Nothing else. Right, so Jackrabbit is kind of coming back. So, because as you said, there was a lull based on the fact that children come along, and then your time is taken away, as you said, just trying to make money for bread, and so doing anything else outside of that is tricky. But I know you've really sort of you give your kids like a real push in the outdoor space. Like both your kids are really good at sort of like doing outdoorsy stuff.
Definitely.
Is there going to be I mean, we haven't even talked about this off camera actually, but is there going to be like a mini Jackrabbits or something like that?
It's all in itself, in my opinion. And again, it's all very organic, and we kind of we'll discuss these things and kind of change it as it goes, and what works, what doesn't. But for me, I want them to be included in part of it. Obviously, maybe not the drinking and like meeting in the pub afterwards or whatever, but like getting them along and just kind of, if we've got a biking day, if they're fit enough to come along, then they're fit enough to come along. And I mean, we had this conversation the other day, is that I always dreamed of having these two kids that came mountain biking with me like every evening or whatever. But then the truth is, like, you're not in full control of what your kids like. So now I'm a football dad and a gymnastics dad, and we go biking and kind of snowboarding and things when we can, but nowhere near as much as I'd want to. But when we do get those moments, they are special. But and I think that's where this next stage of life will be great, because I think as we start to organise these Jackrabbit events and these meetups and things, they'll start to meet more people that do this, and like-minded people at the climbing wall, and it'll just really kind of help yeah, I just think it's going to be great. So I'm keen to kind of keep them involved as we move forward with it all.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned climbing there as well. It's like there is so many sports that we've done. How I used to work out what sports I've done is with specialist footwear. So if you have a specialist piece of footwear, that means that you've done the sport. So your climbing shoes, your snowboard boots, your skate trainers or whatever, like your booties for your for surfing, etc. So I had at one point I had 32 different pieces and different pairs of footwear for different sports. So cleats for mountain biking, like everything actually requires, running shoes, skate shoes, whatever. Yeah. I mean, wellies as well, walking boots, I mean, I can tell I'm getting old because I was thinking about walking boots there. But like all that kind of stuff, it's very unique. And again, going back to gear, one of the things that we used to talk about was like just finding, like a good piece, a middle of the road piece of gear because you can't afford the pro model or whatever. And then over time, obviously, when you get adult money, you can maybe get some cool stuff. But ultimately, I personally, I've always ended up with decent, not pro, I think.
Yeah, and that I mean that's the key for me. I'm just looking around now to see if I can see the bag that I've got. But I remember I've got a Dakine bag, and the bag must be 25 years old. That's depressing. Yeah. 25 years old, and I've used it most days for taking my laptop to and from the office. And I only just retired it about 6 months ago, and that's only because the zip kept on popping, and so it's just that's a credit to Dakine, right?
Yep.
I assume that's pronounced.
Yep, I've got
because they built a product that's lasted that long.
Yeah, I've got, and I did a video the other day just of me walking, and I could see my bag on my shoulder, and I had my Dakine logo, and I did actually think at the time, in terms of like, we're not going to talk much about branding on this, but obviously that is kind of what I do. But it was like Dakine. If you know, you know. If you know what Dakine is, then you're in my club. But you are absolutely right. Is that I have 2 Dakine bags from probably just as old, if not older, from those.
Yeah,
and then
older.
Yeah. So yeah, fantastic. I love them.
Yeah. Let me see if it's here.
Yeah, because aren't they owned by Burton?
No, that's Gratis, I think.
Oh,
yeah, look at that.
I thought Gratis was the shoes. Yes, shoes. Yeah.
Or was it Gravis?
Gravis.
Yeah, I don't think they are owned by Burton. I could be wrong with that one, but they did have Burton had quite a few brands at one point, and then I think they brought them all into one. But maybe they own them behind the scenes. But
yeah,
we.
Yeah, how many? I'm just thinking of like Sims boards. Did I have 2 Sims boards or 1 Sims board? And then I bought
one Sims board.
Yeah, no, I had 2. I had the little one, which I buy that off Helen Mellon. I had one of them. And then I bought my own one from Graham, and then I got. Did I get your snowboard after that? I can't remember. I think I sold the Sims and then I got your...
the Fix, yeah. That kind of bag was from Graham as well. Was that free time? No, what was the name of that shop?
Skate shop. Molten Skate Shop. Yeah.
I'll have to go and have a look and I can remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's... So coming back to what you said about the kind of Dakine brand, and you're in my club kind of thing. That's where the idea of merch came along. For doing so when I was at uni, I remember going like one of the bars or whatever, and there was a guy with a fox top on, and I was waiting for my friends, and I just thought, fox top, he's going to be a mountain biker, similar physique to me. I'll just start chatting to him and see what the crack is. So I was like, "Oh, do you ride then?" He's like, "Yeah." And so then we just got cracking, and then we were friends like throughout the rest of uni and stuff, just because of that moment, because I knew that his identity based on his top, and that's where I thought, actually, this is an identity. So like a lot of the sports are very singular, and they don't like to go outside of this. And they're like the multi-sporters, I used to get called down at the skate parks. They used to do the rollerblades, and I got called a multi-sporter. But I genuinely love the identity of being able to just be in something of that mindset, that group, that community. So yeah, then I thought, let's get some merch together, and people loved it, and people still wear it today. Like there was one of the first ones from the Chamonix holiday that we did. People still got that, and I just love that people are making it last, and it's a sense of identity and like just great memories. Although I remember Luke once asked me, it's like, oh, do you mind if I use the logo to get a tattoo? I had to stop him there. I was like, yeah, but yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I've quite a few thoughts on that, because there's, we'll come to the lap in a moment, but I've had people talk about getting tattoos and stuff done, and there's a guy I know that he had a gumball tattoo done. But what happens when a designer, so Jamie Flinton, he did a little logo and he tattooed it on his thing, and it was his logo, and I was like, dude, you're a designer, you're never going to keep that logo for 2 minutes. Why on earth have you just made it permanent? Sure enough, in 6 months' time, you'd change the design. It's like, you're a designer, you should know that you're never going to keep that logo as it is. But yeah, and then just talking about, your client, I don't know if you want to put this in, but, talking about the lap and how so many people have got tattoos, and that identity is, because the lap, just in case you don't know, the lap is you explain it.
Yeah, so the lap is something that you do when you decide that the normal challenges aren't quite enough, but it's an ultra marathon running around Windermere, which is a 47-mile run, and it's the best ultra. I've done a handful of ultras now, and it's just unreal. It's really difficult to get into, and yeah, it's fantastic. Then the guy that runs it, Davey, is just an absolute legend, so I can highly recommend it. But yeah, he came to us and saying, I need to tweak the logo, but I need to. I'm a bit worried about people that have already got tattoos of the old logo and things, but I was like, I'm not taking that on, not a chance. But yeah, we ended up doing it, and it's the memories that you make at the time, and this is so I changed my opinion about Luke wanting a tattoo a long time afterwards, and I just thought, well, actually, that's a memory of like one of the best times of his life, and this is what he said. It's a memory of like just this group of people, what we're doing. Like I've never felt so good, and I want that as a memory of every time I see it, I want to think of this.
Yeah.
And so he could have done that, and So I kind of regret saying it, and like it would have been nice for him to have that, but so it's kind of changed my opinion more recently. So yeah,
it's that permanence that worries me really, but. Yeah, I think that's a very valid point, is that it's a moment in time. And because basically that's what tattoos are, right? They are stories. You don't put it on your skin if you don't have a story.
So, yeah, exactly.
So you're creating a visual indicator, and which then goes back to the whole brand, and the whole my group of people thing, and and ultimately we are tribal, and if you look at action sports across the board, it is also very tribal, because even inside the tribes, there's you've got an action sport tribe compared to like tennis and all that kind of sports. So you're different, I'm different, because I like this kind of sport. And then you niche down further into the kind of sports that you're into, whether it's on wheels or not wheels, on boards or not boards. And then you niche down further into I'm a fixie, or I'm a full sus or an electric bike, or you niche down further into I only do trails or whatever. So it's like you get down to the very, very sort of like minuscule points of difference within that, but ultimately Jackrabbit is like the all-encompassing family of
it's inclusion.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think one of the problems I have with the world today, oh man, I sound old, is that everything's about being exclusive. It's like, oh no, I'm different from this, oh no, I'm more into that, and it's about like everything tries to make us feel like that's the enemy, or feel like they're not associated, even though it's a slightly different taste. But yeah, so you've got like cross-country mountain biking and downhill mountain biking, very different people. But at the end of the day, we love bikes. And so there's a lot of kind of division and stuff that's created by magazines, created by all these articles and things, when actually it should be about community. It should be about making things better.
Yeah, snowboarding, surfing. So that's a big thing. It has been for forever, and I kind of enjoy, that kind of, it's like, as long as it doesn't go too far, I quite enjoy the camaraderie of taking a mickey out of skiers. But then I saw another meme maybe last week, I think it was, and it was like, skiers, snowboarders, we have a new enemy. And then it was all these mountain bikers going down the slopes going down the snow on their mountain bikes. And so obviously skiers and snowboarders trying to avoid them. But yeah, it's ultimately, as long as it doesn't degenerate into hatred, it's good having it's a bit of a northern sort of
banter.
Yeah, northern banter, really. It's like or British banter, really, taking a mickey out of each other, that kind of thing.
Yeah, definitely. I love it.
Yeah,
it's but then as long as you're in the pub afterwards and you're all making up and having a good laugh afterwards, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it is. It's that. It's like reliving those moments, and we could, you and I obviously have spent many hours thinking and talking about, psychology and human performance and all that kind of stuff. And if you actually think about that reliving the moment, really what you're doing at that point is you're firing those same neurons, right? As though your brain actually thinks you are still doing it. And so if you can remember those moments, like when you go, because I'm just thinking of now, certain things now, and I can almost feel happy because I remember those moments. It's great. I love it all. I don't do anywhere near.
And so with that in mind, what's one of your if you think back to surfing, snowboarding, biking, whatever, what's one of the things that really stands out to you as a moment?
Well, I'll go with fear first. I remember being out in Scarborough. This is not the one where no, it's not that one. I remember being out in Scarborough when it was massive. And I say massive, it was like 10 foot. So that's not like big wave surfing.
It's not quite massive.
It's big in terms of the, like Scarborough. And I was really lucky to get out because when it's that big, it's really hard to get out the back. But because of the way it was coming in around the harbour, you could paddle that way and then come in behind the drop zone. And I just remember being sat outside the drop zone and the sort of amplitude, the difference in height of this wave rolling in. And then me going down, and then me going right up and right down. And I just remember thinking, I can't surf this. I can't surf this. I can't get back in, And I do remember fear there. In terms of a very cool memory was doing black with Lee and Stu.
Stu?
Yeah. That was in teen. I remember we did it a couple of times actually, but it was a really cool black. It wasn't like a tricky, icy black or anything. And I don't even know why it was a black, quite honestly. But it was really cool, a really cool moment. And I was like, again, as a kid, I want to go back again. So we did it a couple of times because it was really cool. But yeah, I mean, I just love all of it. And I love that home run from Grand Monte, in Sham. I love that. There's when just thinking about it the other day, because we were talking to Nathan, and we were talking about skiing and stuff. And I remember the home run when him and I went with Jim and Ben to the Zermatt. It was, I couldn't remember it. I just pictured the mountain, and that mountain gave me what it was. The Zermatt home run. It's quite wide, quite fast. Yeah, and it's that kind of stuff where you what's yours? What's your memories?
One of my kind of core memories there is is the memory that I don't have. So it's been told by everybody else and reliving it through helmet cam and things because I hit the ground so hard. I lost 6 hours of my day. I don't remember it. Just
to set the scene, that's on a mountain bike, yeah? So not snowboarding. That's
on a mountain bike. So that's up at A Forest, and we were there quite a lot. So they created so I'm a mountain biker. It's the most accessible spot because when it's raining, windy, whatever, you can do it all the time. And so when you tell people you're a mountain biker, they like to envisage these downhillers, and the downhillers are an absolute different breed. Like we went on the downhill track once, I think, and then I don't think I ever went back again. But we did one that it was like an intermediate one called the Shredder, so I had like a gap over the road and a bit of a drop. And we'd started that day, and Brett that was with us, he was really good. He was a proper downhiller. And so he followed me with the helmet cam for a bit, and I was on my little hardtail. I did the road gap, which was about halfway down, and then I pulled off to the side. And I feel like I remember that, but because I've seen the helmet camera, I think that's my memory. But not entirely sure. And then what happened after that was the Brett got to the bottom on the helmet cam, and he's absolutely panting. He's had the ride of his life. It was meant because he thought I was chasing him. Turns out I wasn't. I was face down on the ground up at the top of just after the road gap. I basically made it, pulled out the way, and then it looks like I tried to make a double and then not made it. I don't remember any of it. I don't even remember the start of that kind of day. I remember some of the runs, but I don't remember the start of that run at least. So they found me and they walked me down the mountain, which was a long way, so it must have been about an hour's walk, and I'd broken collarbone, I'd grazed on my side, hit my head really hard, but I had a full face helmet on, so there was no damage to my head other than kind of the shell of the thing had gone so thin. Walked to the bottom, got into the car, drove to the nearest hospital. I sat in the waiting room for a bit. By that point, my sister and my wife, I'd only been married a month, so I was looking at my hand in the car, talking to Brett. This is all third-hand knowledge. I don't remember this. Going, did I get married? Huh. So I was just asking the same questions over and over again for, I had a 30-second memory, they said, and I was like a hyperactive child. And they drove me to hospital.
That's just normal, Dan.
That is just normal. Maybe I was worse than normal. So then wife and sister had come up to the hospital to meet them. They'd left, so I don't remember them leaving, as in my friends. And then my memory starts to come back around the time that I vividly remember the nurse. She wasn't a nurse, she was a doctor, but she was in blue and I wasn't feeling very well. And she'd washed her hands with the alcohol rub to make sure that she was ready to sleep. And then she went to check my eyes, but to check my eyes, she put a hand on my shoulder. And that was all open grazes and bleeding. And I just remember the sheer pain that I felt, just in that moment. She was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And she apologized profusely. And then she went away and then came back 2 minutes later, said something to me, and then apparently I turned to Emma and went, "Have I seen her before?" After all of that thing. So I don't remember, and I vaguely remember getting wheeled back from the X-ray department with a guy that was making me laugh and everything was hurting. And then I started to remember things more on the way home, and then I was out of action for 3 months with a broken collarbone and concussion. Yeah, it was around 6 hours of lost memories. But so it's a great. I love telling the story, and I've got almost a tattoo of the kind of broken collarbone. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, it's the snapped collarbone where it sits on top of each other, which makes wearing a suit hard work because it never fits properly, and then your bag always falls off your shoulder when you're trying to wear a bag, but. Yeah, it's part of it, and you still go back and you still love it, and that's what the kind of quote came to me in uni, I think, because why do you do it? What's the point? It's it's the passion beyond reason. I love it. I can't tell you why. There's no reason to it, and it kind of stuck because a lot of the times, getting back up is just stupid, and doing it again is just stupid, but feels mint. So
yeah. Yeah, well, they say, don't they? You got to get back on the horse. But I don't think, in some of those situations, they're definitely not situations where you don't even think about it because it's just core, right? Ultimately, so
yeah,
it's just the absolutely. Buzz is and you could take the analogy about drugs and stuff, but that's what it is, right? It's just the buzz is
absolutely
endorphins and all that kind of stuff. It is literally like drugs, So.
Yeah. One of the other highlights, just to quickly on that, so my whole kind of being a kid growing up, I remember Rick surfing and looking up to Rick and wanting to go surfing with him, and eventually he let me come along with him and his mates, and it was great. And I've always been rubbish at it, and I always thought it was going to be easy because you can see people doing it. It looks easy. I don't know if anyone's ever tried it, but it's really not easy to pick up. But to the point that I'd be in the water kind of trying to balance and stuff, and Rick would just slowly swim away so he didn't have to associate with me. But yeah, so I've been trying to surf for years and years. So me and Ben, we used to go a lot, and we were over in, I think it was Tynemouth or something, but the sun was setting. There were only 2-foot waves, maybe a little bit bigger, and there was me, Ben, and Sam, and we all managed to catch the same wave at the same time, and we're all just riding in. And like, honestly, we're not very good at surfing, didn't look very good, whatever, but the buzz we got from it of all catching like a party wave at the same time, and it felt mint, and you don't really get that from many other things, I don't think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, that's for me is like the thing with surfing, which I don't surf now, but obviously I surfed for quite a long time, is that it's such a small window, but it's such a big joy. You know, and you know, that whole advert for the Guinness advert, like the waiting for it. And it's so true. It's just like you could be sat there for 3 hours in freezing cold, because we're in the north, freezing cold, but just 2 of those rides, and they might be 5 seconds, but it's just that those moments make up for those 3 hours of frozen limbs. Yep. You know, it's just, there's something. In fact, it just makes me want to go surfing right now, to be quite honest. But
yeah, definitely. Yeah. And so the other thing that, like, the final piece of the puzzle for me with Jackrabbit is about people's health. It's Stephen Kotler. Do you remember him? So he wrote a book.
Yeah, I think I've got him. He's in my book.
The Rise of Superman.
Yeah, I've got 3 or 4 of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So he ended up getting Lyme's disease, and he was bedridden for a long time, and the doctors didn't really see any kind of improvements, and they couldn't do anything. So he was in there for 6 months, and there was nothing. They were trying different drugs and things, and nothing was making it feel better. And then one day, one of his friends came and said, "Right, we're going to go surfing." He's like, well, "I can't surf. I can barely get out of bed." It's like, "Well, just do what you can. We're going surfing." And she took him surfing, and she said, he said, basically dragged me into the water, and just felt drained, just felt rubbish, whatever. But then something happened in that he turned and he saw the wave coming, so everything, like, instinct kicked in, because he was a surfer. It wasn't like he just magically got the powers, because if he could, I would love that, because then I could have a chance. But he turned, he saw the wave, and then he just started paddling, and he got it, he got stood up, and he just rode it in, and then he just felt elated. I went and did the same again, like 2 or 3 times, and this story is available on YouTube somewhere, but it's a great watch. And then he got back in, and he couldn't stand up. When he rode this last one in, he caught like 4 waves or something. He got into shore, couldn't stand up. He'd used every ounce of energy possible. And then he got worse. So he went back to hospital, and he felt worse. There was nothing he could do. But then a week later, he noticed an improvement. So he basically used all the energy, and then his body had started to recover because of what we call flow state. So it basically shut off a load of other stuff, and then it just helped him focus on the surfing. And then it allowed him to heal, and the healing process started. And the doctor was like, well, we've not done anything different, so it must be the surfing that's helping you. So then he saw this. He's done a lot of research and things into the flow state, and yeah, it's really interesting, and I love it, because it means there is something magical about what we do and why we do it.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that one. The Rise of Superman was a lot about flow state as well. I mean, he talks about that the psychologist guy, Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, I think he's called.
Yeah, I can't say his name. I know which one you mean.
I think that is it. Yeah.
He wrote the book called Flow, didn't he?
Yes. Yeah. I've listened to that, but obviously it was Stephen Kotler's work that got me there. But yeah. That moment is when it literally shuts off the reasoning brain and other parts of your brain, so that you don't have to think. It's focus. But I actually get that in driving as well. You know, I've got a story which is slightly off topic, because we're talking about action sports here. But I do remember overtaking a car in a way, and it was not me driving. It was my body. But it wasn't me, because my brain just shut down everything else, and I was just purely in the zone. And I remember like doing this rather fantastical overtake, which my fellow passengers were not particularly happy about. But yeah, that whole thing of just like, yeah, probably just edit that one out, to be fair. And remind myself of that moment. But go back to Stephen Kotler. Yeah. Yeah, I can't actually remember what the process is and why that helped him, because I have heard that story myself before. So
yeah, no, I can't remember the details of it. I just remember that it was related, and it was to do with the kind of the brain shutting down, because it was working overdrive. So his ability to just use the prefrontal cortex, or which I can never remember. I get them mixed up.
Yeah,
but
no, it just shuts down your prefrontal cortex, I think. Your neocortex.
The thinking part?
Yeah, shuts down your neocortex, because that is the reasoning part, and so you like the talking bit that's in your head. You can't do that. You can't go faster. All that kind of stuff.
And that's so because he found what Kotler did after that is he went and he researched it. It's like, right, what is it that puts us into this flow state? What is it that kind of gets us to that absolute peak of performance? And he established that action sports is just prime for it, because you've got like the changing environment. So you need a skill first and foremost. So you need some kind of skill. So you need to have an understanding of a mountain bike or a snowboard and how it works. And then you need to have a changing environment. So if you do the same thing over and over again, like if you're going around an oval track, you're not really going to ever get into flow state because nothing's challenging you. So the changing terrain, that challenges you to use that skill set. And then it's got to be physical. So there's a few kind of elements to get there, and I think action sports, or most action sports, take you there quite quickly. I think you've got to have fear involved as well. So I think that whole sort of all those chemicals that are in our body, they are there for a good reason, right? So it's particularly like adrenaline and nepoepidrenaline. Yeah. We want to sound really cool and knowledgeable, but we're not. We're just parroting someone else's information. We understand the basics enough to know that we want to go surfing or biking.
Make Rick go faster. That's basically it.
Yeah.
Not crash. Yeah, not crash. Yeah, I'm really all right at that bit. The not crashing, and I don't know if that's down to the fact that maybe I don't do the bit where I go beyond.
I think you're forgetting some bits. Do you remember we went to Stainburn, was it? And there was some North Shore there with a seesaw back in the days of the seesaw. And so I'd been biking a lot more than Rick, because I'd ridden all through uni and things, but being the older brother, Rick doesn't like the fact that I'd kind of spent more time and got used to the bike a little bit more. So everything that I could do, he could also do. And this skinny, which is a very, very specific skill for anyone that knows mountain biking, I did and managed it, and then Rick followed, and he did the hard bit. To be fair, he got over the seesaw, he let it pivot, which was fantastic. But then as he got down the next bit, his front wheel popped off. As the front wheel popped off, the seesaw went back up and took his back wheel up with it, and just flipped him completely perfectly onto his head and cracked his helmet in half. So I've got a photo of him perfectly inverted.
Yeah, that was I remember that one. I wasn't knocked out or anything. That was just my ego that was mostly damaged with that one. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what's next for Jackrabbit?
So what's next? This is a difficult one because it wasn't me that pushed the button on like the stuff that's happening now. This is Ems, my wife, my lovely wife. She knows that it's the right thing for me to do because she knows that I love it. I love the community. I love everything that goes with it. But I'll be honest, there's a little piece of me that's scared of failure because I love it so much. I love where it's come from. I love the story. I love that it's kind of me and you doing stuff, and then it's come to uni. I love the fact that it's all of that. That I feel like if I put everything into it and it fails, that I will be gutted. I'll be properly gutted. So I've always kind of just hidden it, and I don't want to push it. And everyone's going, "Oh, you're going to start doing stuff." And I really want to because I love the stuff, but I don't want it to fail. But Ems has gone, you just need to do something. We need to get it going again because it's a great thing. Everybody that was involved in it previously loved it. It's good for everybody, and it's worth it. So she started to push some things. So she put the events in the calendar and started telling people about it. Right, cool, we're doing this then. And because she started doing that, I'm fully on board, and I'm really excited for what we can do so we can get the merch up and running. I mean, there's a shop there now ready to go, but I really want to do some kind of limited edition screen prints over at the Dogtooth studio, and just start to get that ball rolling because there's something about t-shirts and hoodies and stuff that's quite a good part of the identity. We got the events, which is for the social, and then we're gonna try and help because the economy's a bit crap at the moment, and I really want to try and help the independents, so the little skate shops, the little snowboard shops and bike shops and things, and just try and encourage people to go and shop there. If you need to buy someone a birthday present, a little gift or whatever, this is where your local skate shops are and this is where your bike shops are, and I want to try and help that. So the website will slowly evolve and grow to include those people, and then we'll just try and maybe get a podcast or something together and interviewing kind of athletes and things and people that are involved in that kind of thing, and just try and get a bit more exposure, and then see how we can help it fund itself, because I hate making money off the community and my friends and things like that, but it needed it to in order to stay alive. So we need to figure out something, whether it's adverts on the website. So there's a little bit of thought there. So yeah, it's just kind of getting fully into it and making it work.
Yeah. Going back to the merch is like, often don't want to charge for what we create because you don't want to like take the mickey out of people and stuff. But ultimately, there is the other side of that, and as a user, they want to buy it because they want to be part of the community. And I look at Workhouse Gym, and how much gear Ellis has sold, in hoodies and t-shirts and trackies and all that kind of stuff. And it's because people want to belong. They want to support the business. Like that's a key factor. Maybe it's not necessarily the number one factor, but they want to support the business. But they just want the badge. They want to belong. It says something about them, and I think it's really important to give people the opportunity to be a Jackrabbit kind of person, or JR as what your current top is. And we've obviously gone through many iterations of what it is in terms of like community, website here and social media and all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, it's really is just a community, right? That's what it all boils down to. It's a community, and you've got things that hold it together.
Yeah, it's about not robbing that community. That's what's always been key to me. Is like I don't want to monetize. I don't want to be seen kind of rinsing the kind of community and stuff. So it's figuring out a way to do that kind of works for both sides, because people, like most of the people I spoke to, never complained, and they were all like, "This you should be charging more for your hoodies. You should be because everyone else is charging this." I'm like, "Oh well, I don't want to make money off it because it feels like I'm taking from people, whatever." But everyone was more than supportive and more than happy to kind of put that there. So yeah, you are right, and like I think that people saying that has made me realize I need to support other people. So and this is going back to uni days, but if I want to support the skate shops, I have to go in and buy something occasionally, even if I don't necessarily need it. Buying a t-shirt or skate shoes or whatever from the kind of the skate shop rather than the big chains and stuff is a way of keeping those things alive and letting people live their dreams. So as in the skate shop owners and things.
Yeah, because like we talked about Graham's skate shop, in town, and it is a dream. Like I'd love to create a skate shop, mainly because on the culture side of it. That's all I'm interested in. I don't want to skate anymore, but the culture of it, I want to be around. But fundamentally, those things are really difficult to run. I did actually see something recently, and it was a cafe. It was a skate cafe that sold hardware, but the cafe is what was making the money, and then the hardware was the side to it. And I think almost like that's probably the way to go in a way, because the people drink multiple coffees or iced teas or whatever it is. So. Yeah,
definitely. So in Carlisle, so you hear lots of businesses shutting and all the kind of negativity stuff with regards to the economy at the moment, but something really made me happy the other day that someone I don't know him personally, like I've met him a few times, called Harry, has opened a skate shop in Carlisle, and there hasn't been a skate shop for a long time in Carlisle, so it's really nice to see. So I wish him all the best with it, so I'll be excited to see if that works out for him. But it looks like it's going really well. People going down supporting him. I saw someone walking through town with 2 new decks under their arms the other day, so yeah, they're obviously doing something.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for your time. A lovely piece of artwork
Thank
there
you.
on to your side there. Yeah, by a very famous artist. Right, let's
awesome.
Go.
Thank you very much.
All right. Cheers. Bye.
Take care. Bye bye.
Right, I don't actually know if that's recorded. Right, I'm going to go and get my tea and have a whiskey.
Saying it's like, men are better cooks, but we just don't like doing it. And Ems went, yep. And I went, all right, yeah, that's a fair point. So I thought, I've not cooked in a while, so I better go and do like a nice one. So I ordered all the food, and so now I need to go and cook it.
Yeah, Nick wouldn't approve of that statement, because I'm not a better cook. So. Right.
Do you not get creative with it?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean I'm a better cook. It just means I am a creative cook. Oh, what's this doing here?
Yeah.
Let's put that in it. That's exactly how I think. And what I realise, I'm just going to cut this bit here. But what I realise is I do so many setups before I actually get into my flow, right? And the amount of time I have to edit all this stuff out. What's this? What? But I'm going to do it again. So